Hi everyone, and welcome to my session. We're going to be covering off a bit of PowerShell. If everyone can follow the link that we've got up in the announcements, I just want to get a bit of a feel for the level of experience that everybody's got in PowerShell, and so we can tailor where we're going to go. Right, while you're doing that, my background, where have I come from? Why have I got into PowerShell? So about 10 years ago, I started doing some work with SharePoint, and I got some help from a mentor. And she said to me, I was like, if you're going to get into this, you need to learn PowerShell. And so I did, I just Googled. I Googled everything, and I played around, and yeah, I loved it. The amount of information that is hidden behind the scenes is just amazing. And then you can also write your reports and get your as-built documentation. I mean, I've got a technical background. I started as a systems administrator, so I had that built into me of you need to do these documentation so that we know what's going on. But when it comes to Office 365, it's like, where do you get that information, and how do you present it? So that's what we're going to do today. So let's see, how's everybody's questions looking? Excellent. So we've got a complete newbie. Excellent. Most people have run other people's scripts. Cool. A couple of people have run some basic scripts, and we have someone who uses it every day. Awesome. Welcome. All right, so let's make a start then on my screens. Right, so there we go. Oh yes, you've already got the link. So how's 2020 for you, right? I bet at the start of the year you didn't quite expect to be where you are now. And I suspect that there's going to be a complete rewrite of the term 2020 vision, huh? Now, a couple months ago, I had a customer come to me and sort of say, we've got Office 365, but I have no idea how it's set up. What have we got? What are we using? What SharePoint sites have we got? Help me. And I was like, wow, okay, it's easy enough to step through and show them what they've got. But most people just want a document, something that they can flick through and refer to and kind of go, oh, that makes sense. And then the next thing was, where do I find the information and how? So in your tenant, it's easy enough to find, and you go to your admin center and you can look at what domains you've got in the organization and information. But there's so many different screens, because once you've got your tenant, you go to SharePoint, and then you got so we could use PowerShell. So PowerShell is a scripting language, and you can use one basic command, this one here, get SPO tenant, and it spits out all of this information. And presented like that, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So what does it mean? So this all looks a little bit codey, I know, but you can use HTML to kind of put a nice format to the output. So what I've done there turns out looking like this, which, okay, looks like a web page, but it's still a bit yuck, bit painful. So, but I'm sure someone else has done it in a nicer way. Google. Google is your friend. When I Googled this, I found the lazy administrator. That's a fantastic name. And what he came up with was quite brilliant. Now, before we get into what he came up with, we've got a competition. We're running all this week. So spend a little bit of time, scan the QR code. I think there's some hardware being won tonight, this week. I can't remember what the prize is, but it's cool stuff. Really, really cool. So we'll leave that just a few more seconds. All right. So back to the lazy administrator. The report that he produces looks like this, which is kind of cool. Yeah, you can put your own logo on there, and it comes up. Yeah, we've got this nice dashboard. It gives you a bit of an overview, and it's got some tabs there. But one thing you'll notice is there's some missing information. What about SharePoint? And what about Teams? So SharePoint, to get all the information, there's this command called get SPO tenant. It spits out a whole lot of really, really good information. And as you can see, yeah, you get your storage quota, the resources, your OneDrive quota. Is it external services? Is external sharing allowed? All that sort of stuff is spit out. It all looks a little bit codey, but we'll run through this. Don't worry, and you'll get access to my scripts at the end. And what about the SharePoint sites? So there's a second command called get SPO site, and that spits a list of all your sites. So by combining those two bits of code, it turns out you get an extra tab showing on that report like this. Now you'll see it lists all your tenant details, the SharePoint settings, a list of all your sites along with the owner, and it also just breaks it down into bite-sized bits. So yeah, in the code behind the scenes, yeah, they've set it up so that you get 15 items at a time, and then you got to go on to the next page. So it's all there, but you just got to scroll through. But it looks a whole lot nicer, don't you think? And then with Teams, Microsoft has released a new Teams module. It's still quite basic, but you'll get, at its core, you can get a list of all your teams, their description, and what sort of visibility they are. The visibility is it a private site? Is it a public site? So is it restricted, or can anybody in your organization view it? Now, there is a gotcha with the Teams module. You can't get your Teams settings. To get your Teams settings, you need to use the Skype for Business module, which is a bit of a pain, but given that there's the migration from Skype for Business Online to Teams, at the moment it kind of makes sense that to get that information, that's where you need to go. So there's just a small bit of code that you run, and that get CS tenant will give you a list of, once again, all your team settings. And it's a bit ugly, but this is what it spits out. Now, I've just been working on this over the last few days. I've just been working on this using the Skype for Business module. So I'm all in, but this is kind of the process that we can go through to find the information and hack these scripts for what we want. So does that make sense to everybody? Do we have any questions? Let me see. The camera quality. Okay. Thank you, David. Appreciate that. It's the inbuilt camera for Surface Pro. Give it a nice wee plug there. All right. Okay, so no other questions. Let's move on. We're actually moving through a little bit quicker than I thought I would. Let's move on to what else we could do. The other area that I spend a lot of time in is the message center and the service health dashboard. And I quite often get asked, how do I get that information? You can set up to receive notifications if something happens, but quite often, I have quite a few different customers. I'm a consultant, and so I need just one script that I can log on to each individual tenancy, get the information for each customer, and send it to them. So our friends at Evotech have done this really nicely. There is a wee bit of a setup. So it uses Dashimo, which is a dashboarding module, and it requires Azure app registration. All the details are in those links. Not overly hard, but you need to go into your Azure AD side of things and do an app registration, because it means that you can put that into a scheduled task. It doesn't require you to sit there and log in every time you run that. So it just means that you can actually spit it out on a schedule and email the output to a customer. Nice. What does it look like? That you get an HTML page with all these tabs. You get your services, you get the current status. So if there's any alerts on that day, that they come up there. Message center information. Now on the left-hand side is each isolated incident. If you click on the one on the left, or on the right, you get that filters it per incident. So you get all of the updates. So I mean, nice and easy. There's not a whole lot of hack that needs to go on for this. Now, the other scripts that Evotech, you should go and check out his site. They've got outputs to Word and Excel direct. So if you want to do Azure AD as-built documentation, run a script, put into a Word document, all done. It's really, really nice. Right, let's see, have we got? How long did it take me to pick up PowerShell? It's been an ongoing effort. It really has. I spend on and off. I probably spend maybe a day a week going around, sniffing around blogs, Twitter, and just talking to people. It's, well, like I said, it's been about 10 years since I've been doing it. To get the real useful stuff, it probably took me a good 12, 18 months to be able to really design my own module, or not modules, scripts. Modules are a whole other beast. I'm not even going to go there. Yeah, Gary, sounds good to me. Great way to get good overview. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it's all about. Absolutely, Dave. Yes, we'll get a copy of the presentation with the links. So what about you guys? Yeah, what ideas have you guys had around what you want to script? Have a think on that, because what I might do is I might show you some of the scripts that I've been using, particularly the first one. All right, bear with me. All right, so this is the first report that I was showing you. Now, as you can see at the top here is the different modules that are required. So you need the Azure AD. There's the command to install. Report HTML. And there's the install SharePoint module, Teams module, Skype for Business. But the nice thing is you can add in a company logo, where you want to save the report, the admin URL. Now there's also this filter here for two-factor authentication. So this script also covers that, because quite often, like, if you have two-factor authentication turned on, PowerShell behaves differently when you log in. So when you go through all the connections side of things, then we need to declare all of the variables that we need for the different tables. And that's a lot of different tables. But you guys don't need to worry too much, but if you're after the details, this is it. It goes through all the different licensing. Actually, I'll show you. Let's step through the report itself. That might give you a better. Hang on. Sorry, folks. There we go. All right. So this is the front end, the front dashboard. You get the basic company information, your global administrators, the domains. So it's pretty nice. You even get the option users with strong password enforcement disabled. So it highlights some security risks that you got. A list of all your different administrator types. I mean, this is my demo tenant, so we don't have any of these set up at this point, but this is where you'd see them. And then you get a list of all your users and a licensing status, which is quite nice. Your Office 365 groups, and or your groups, full stop, and what type of group that they are. your licensing, shared mailboxes. Once again, this is a demo, so these are empty. Meeting rooms, anything like that, equipment mailboxes, these all get detected. Then you've got your sites, and here's a list of all the different, actually I've just seen a mistake that I've made, no matter. It's pulled up by the team settings into my SharePoint sites rather than the SharePoint settings. Then you get a list of all your SharePoint sites down here, who the owner is. And then once again, it's the scroll through. If you've got more than one setting, just the interactive, being able to flick through, really, really nice. And once again, Teams, same thing. Really, really nice. All right. So do we have any more questions? Yeah. Okay. Seems a bit insecure to allow the MFA to be disabled. Yeah. Yes, it does. That's a business decision for people to make. Idea. User C. Wow. Yeah, global admin, definitely. Thank you, Gary. Rowena. Script use case, identifying all of the groups, teams, permissions that are using. Absolutely. Rowena, that's a really great idea. Actually, I think I've done something like that in the past for SharePoint Server. So to be able to do that for SharePoint Online, that would be really, really good. Use a CSV import to enable a list of users for Teams. Yes. And, I have done that. There is a way of doing it, and it's using a for each loop. So you use get content in PowerShell, and you can read from a file, and then you use a for each loop, and it will read each line of the file, and then you can run a command on that, and that's how you do that. But good point, Dave. Nikki, for reporting, I'd be interested to start with. I always worry about running a PowerShell script. Can we make some read only so I don't inadvertently make bulk changes? Yeah, good concern. The scripts that I've got here are all using get commands only. So you're only getting information. They're not using any write commands. So you're not actually going to make any bulk changes with these scripts. But yeah, it's very, very powerful in doing bulk edits when you use the right commands. But good concern, Nikki. The running reports is definitely all about using the gets. Joe, stats are a hot topic at the moment. Yeah, you're not wrong. Any scripts that can expand on the reports available on the portal? I haven't seen any, but I would definitely be keen to start looking into that myself. That's a really interesting one, especially with the whole COVID thing. I read that in the first 2 weeks that Microsoft had something like a 750% uptake on Teams. So that would just be, yeah. Right. All right, well, I think, hang on, I think that's about it for me. We'll just do a big thank you to our sponsors. Please support them. It's been amazing to be able to put on so many different speakers for an entire month. So, Debbie, do you have anything? Excellent. All right, thank you, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed, and we will definitely share the scripts with everyone that would like them. Look me up on Twitter, LinkedIn. I'm there. Happy to chat. Happy to help with any ideas. Okay, Bertus. Sorry, I just seen your question. Could you construct a script to identify guests with the team's site went dormant or archived? I believe so. I was just looking or talking to someone about that a couple days ago and floating that idea. The being able to identify archived teams or unused teams is a good part of governance. So yeah, I believe that you could definitely pull that information. I'm just trying to work out exactly where you'd get that. The best place would probably be using accessing the SharePoint site. So using the get SPO site command, and then probably looking at the either last modified date, and that will give you like last time someone modified. I'm just not sure if they give you a last viewed. And then you'll be able to get a list of guest users, all your users as well on there. Yeah, and you can easily identify guest users from your standard users. Awesome. Great. Thank you very much, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the rest of the conference. Support the other speakers.